It's postseason time in Japan, a little later than usual, but better late than never. Still a couple games left in the regular season, but nothing that will change the postseason setup. So here is my NPB Postseason Preview. 6 teams remain, 3 from each league. 1 from each league will reach the Japan Series, and the winner of that will be the new champion of NPB. The SoftBank Hawks, winners of the Japan Series the last 4 years, did not reach the postseason. They are done. Time for someone else to claim the title. Another thing that makes this a special postseason is that both the Central League and Pacific League regular season champions, the number 1 seeds in the postseason, finished dead last a year ago. So we had 2 teams go from last to first, and they could meet in the Japan Series. Here's a look at the Central League standings. The Tokyo Yakult Swallows are that last to first team in Central League. They were in the top 3 all year, and then in the last 2 months surged past the Giants and Tigers into the top spot. Almost lost it in the last 2 weeks, but held on, winning it by a narrow margin. The Hanshin Tigers were in first place most of the season, lost the top spot to the Swallows late in the season, but were always near the top and never had any bad losing streaks. Unlike the Yomiuri Giants, after spending most of the season in second place, right behind Hanshin, the Giants had 2 second-half losing streaks. The second one lasted 10 games. All of that started right after they had briefly taken over first place. They ended up finishing a very distant third, though they did end the season winning 2 of their last 3, and during their losing streak they didn't get throttled by their opponents, they just ended up losing every time. Here are the monthly records for each team. Tigers, second from the top, won 20 games in March and April to jump into first place. The worst time for them was July and August. That's when the league took a long break for the All-Star Game and the Olympics, but by October they recovered and finished strong. Fourth team down is the Swallows. They never had a losing month and got better as the season went on, having their best months in September and October. Giants at the bottom here were the opposite. A strong start, keeping pace with the other 2 throughout the season. Then in the final 2 months they were 10 and 25 combined. So, to summarize, the Swallows got stronger as the season went on. The Giants started strong but struggled at the end. The Tigers started and finished strong but had trouble at midseason. Home and away records. Swallows will have home field advantage, which is good for them because they had the best home record at 36 wins, 28 losses, and 7 ties. Tigers will be at home in the first stage of the Climax Series, where they were 36 and 30. Giants are just over 500 at home. Both the Swallows and Tigers are tough on the road, but the Giants are not. 29 and 32 on the road. They'll have to win on the road if they're going to win a series. In the head-to-head, you can see a little weakness for the Swallows, 4th team down on the list here. They did a great job of beating up on the teams in the bottom half, 13 and 6 against the Dragons, 14 and 6 against the Carp, and 16 and 6 against the Baystars. But they were 8 and 13 versus the Tigers, and an even 11 and 11 versus the Giants. More bad news for the Giants. They were 9 and 13 against the Tigers, and lost most of their recent games with the Tigers and Swallows. Back to the standings, look to the right and you can see the team ERA. The best pitching team in Central League was the Chunichi Dragons, but they were also the worst hitting team, by far, which is why they're not in the postseason. The Tigers' .330 team ERA was the best among postseason teams. Koyo Aoyagi was 13 and 6 with the league's second best ERA at .248. Rookie left-hander Masashi Ito was 10 and 7, ERA .244. Yuki Nishi is another good starter, .376 ERA put him in the top 10. Not so consistent though, only half of his games were quality starts, resulting in a win-loss record of 6 and 9. If it goes to the 9th inning, they're in good hands. Roberto Suarez was the league leader in saves with 42, ERA .116. Swallows were the next best pitching team with a .345 team ERA, a big surprise because they've been known for having bad pitching in recent years. No real dominant starting pitchers, but a decent rotation all the way through. Yasuhiro Ogawa was 9 and 5, ERA .409. Yasunobu Okugawa 9 and 4, .335. But their strength was the bullpen. Noboru Shimizu set a new league record with 50 holds. He appeared 72 times, ERA .239. Closer Scott McGuff was 3rd in Central League with 31 saves. He made 66 appearances, ERA .252. Giants had a .363 team ERA, not bad but behind the other 2. Tomoyuki Sugano is their starting pitcher everyone knows best. It's been kind of a down year for him, 19 starts, record of 6 and 7, ERA .319. Not as good as years past, but we all know he is still capable of having a dominant start. 24-year-old lefty Yuki Takahashi has emerged as a reliable starter. This year, 26 starts, ERA of .339. They had trouble settling on a closer. Thiago Vieira was pretty good, 56 games, 19 saves, ERA .293. He broke the NPB record for fastest pitch earlier in the season, 103.8 miles an hour, 167 kilometers per hour, but he was inconsistent at times. The Swallows scored 617 runs this year, more than any team in all of NPB, second in home runs with 141. Team batting was best among postseason teams, and they were second best in stolen bases. Their most feared hitter is definitely third baseman Munetaka Murakami. .413 on-base percentage was the league's second best. 39 home runs was tied for first. But he's not their only feared hitter. Second baseman Tetsuto Yamada, 34 home runs, .371 on-base percentage, .516 slugging. And they've got a great supporting cast around them with hitters like Norichika Aoki and Domingo Santana. Tigers scored 541 runs, the fewest of these three teams, and the fewest home runs, but not bad in either area. Their biggest offensive strength was stolen bases with a league-leading 114. 4 of their hitters got over 20 home runs. Rookie outfielder Teruaki Sato hit 24 to lead the team, but he struggled badly late in the season, going on a long hitless streak and striking out a lot. Jeffrey Marte hit 22 home runs. Yusuke Oyama hit 21, and Jerry Sands hit 20. The top 2 base stealers in Central League were both Tigers. Rookie infielder Takuma Nakano stole 30, and third-year outfielder Koji Chikamoto stole 24 while batting .313. As you may have noticed, there is a lot of youth in the Tigers roster. The Giants had the second highest scoring offense, first in home runs with 169, just behind the Swallows in stolen bases. Third baseman Kazuma Okamoto was tied with Murakami for the league lead with 39 home runs. A .530 slugging put him in the top 5. Yoshihiro Mato hit 23 home runs, on-base percentage .365. And it's better than it looks. He got off to a really slow start this year, but towards the end he was the Giants' top hitter. Shortstop Hayato Sakamoto is another one to look out for. Not the dominant hitter he was a couple years ago, but he still had a .359 on base with 19 home runs this year. Okay, so looking at these three teams, it's pretty obvious that the Giants are lagging behind the other two. That wasn't the case a couple months ago, but from what we've seen from the Giants lately, I don't expect them to go far in the postseason. They might be able to win one from Hanshin in the Climax Series, but I expect them to lose the series. That would leave the Tigers and Swallows in the second stage, and this one is an even matchup. Swallows looked like the better team towards the end of the season, but I like the Tigers here. They won 13 of 21 decisions against the Swallows this year, and have the better starting pitching. I'll say Tigers in 7. Now here are the Pacific League standings. The Orix Buffaloes won the Pacific League regular season title for the first time since the Orix Blue Wave and the Kintetsu Buffaloes merged to form the present team in 2004. They took over first place around mid-season, lost it for a little while, then gained it back. The Chiba Lotte Marines will finish a very close second. This is the second year in a row for the Marines to reach the postseason. Last year they were second in the regular season and got swept in 2 games by the Hawks. They were a consistent team throughout the season and were in first place for a few weeks late in the season. The third and final team to reach the postseason is the Rakuten Eagles. They bounced around the top 4 most of the season and fought off a challenge from the Hawks to earn their way into the Climax Series. Looking at their monthly records, the Marines only had 1 losing month, that was in June. The rest of the season they've consistently been a few games over 500 every month. The Buffaloes started the season with a couple losing months, then won 16 of 20 decisions in June, and kept winning after that. The Eagles started the year at 14-9 and were right around 500 for the next 6 months. Home and away is interesting. The Buffaloes have the best home record at 38-22, and they will have home field advantage, but they have a losing record on the road. The Eagles have a losing record at home, but it doesn't matter. They'll be playing on the road, where they were 35-29. The Marines are more consistent, winning records at home and on the road. So the Buffaloes are strong at home, but the Marines and Eagles are both strong on the road. The head-to-head results in Pacific League are right here. The Marines have a 15-9 record versus their first opponent in the Climax Series, the Eagles. Their last meeting, however, was last Wednesday when the Eagles beat the Marines 2-1, and that clinched the league title for the Buffaloes. And if they do get past the Marines, they have a 10-9 record versus the Buffaloes. The Marines and Buffaloes split their season series at 10 apiece. The Buffaloes had the best team ERA at 3.31, and they have the best starting pitcher in NPB. That is Yoshinobu Yamamoto, winner of the Pitcher's Triple Crown. 18 wins, 206 strikeouts, ERA 1.39. His ERA is more than a full point ahead of the next guy, who also happens to be a Buffalo. Hiroya Miyagi, a 20-year-old lefty in his first full season, is second in ERA 2.51 and wins 13. Their closer is Yoshihisa Hirano. He made 46 appearances, 29 saves, and a 2.30 ERA. Another reliable arm in the bullpen is Tyler Higgins, 49 appearances, 2.53 ERA, and 28 holds. The Eagles were not far behind with a team ERA of 3.40. Masahiro Tanaka, in his first year back in NPB, made 23 starts, 17 of them quality starts, and had the league's 4th best ERA at 3.01. However, he wasn't the luckiest pitcher. He ended up with only 4 wins and 9 losses. Right behind him in the ERA ranking is Takahiro Norimoto, 23 starts, 3.17 ERA, and Pacific League's second highest strikeout total at 152. Takayuki Kishi completes the trio, 25 starts, 3.44 ERA. And there's another trio to look out for in the bullpen. Closer Yuki Matsui struck out 59 batters in 43 innings, 24 saves, and a 0.63 ERA. Tomohito Sakai came out 54 times, ERA 2.28, with 28 holds. And Cha Ho-son made 63 appearances, 24 holds, and a 2.23 ERA. The Marines' 3.66 team ERA is the highest among these three teams, and in fact was the second highest in Pacific League. 25-year-old lefty Kazuya Ojima had the best ERA among Marine starters at 3.76. 10 wins, 13 of his 24 starts were quality starts. Manabu Mima and Ayuma Ishikawa are decent starters too, but no true ace there. They'll try to win games with their bats in the early innings and let the bullpen take care of the late innings. Closer Naoya Masuda led the league and set a new club record with 38 saves. He recorded a 2.24 ERA in 67 appearances. Chihaya Sasaki had a 1.26 ERA in 54 games with 26 holds. The Marines' real strength is in their hitting. They led Pacific League in runs scored with 581, second in home runs with 125, and first in stolen bases with 105. It's the imports that lead the way for them. Brandon Laird slashed 263, 331, 482 with 29 home runs. Leonis Martin 233, 355, 500 with 27 homers. And watch out for their base running. 22-year-old Koshiro Wada tied for the league lead with 24 steals and had a .417 on-base percentage. Takashi Ogino had 23 steals and an impressive slash line of 296, 366, 426. The Buffaloes scored 551 runs, second among the three teams, first in home runs with 133, first in team batting at 247, but not much of a base-stealing team. Masataka Yoshida is going to be the league batting champion for a second straight year. His line was 339, 429, 563, with 21 home runs. Another great hitter they've got is Yutaro Sugimoto. He hit 301, 378, 552, with a league-leading 32 home runs. Then we've got the Eagles, 532 runs scored, 108 home runs, and 45 stolen bases, all ranked last out of the three Pacific League postseason teams. Hideo Asamura led Pacific League in home runs last year. This year he only hit 18, but he had one of the league's best on-base percentages at 395. Outfielder Hiroaki Shimauchi was close behind with a 385 on base and hit 21 home runs. So the first matchup is Eagles at Marines. I'm going to predict an upset here. I think the Eagles are a better team than what they've been showing. Marines definitely have the better hitting, but when comparing pitchers, both starters and relievers, the Eagles look stronger, and I think that's going to be more important in this series. That would leave us with the Buffaloes and Eagles. In a best-of-7 series, the Buffaloes will be able to start Yamamoto and Miyagi 2 times each, not to mention that they have better hitting than the Eagles. I'll say Buffaloes in 6. And that would bring us to the Japan series, where the Hanshin Tigers would be seeking their first championship since 1985, and the Buffaloes would be hoping for their first title since the merger. Orix Blue Wave last won it all in 1996. Both teams bringing exciting young players, excellent hitting and pitching, and two fan bases starving for a long-awaited win in the Japan series. What a story this will be. I really thought this was going to be Central League's year. It's been 9 years since a Central League team last won it all. But I think it'll have to wait another year. Buffaloes in 6. That's what I think. Let me know what you think down in the comments. That's all for this one, and until next time, this is Baseball International. See ya.